Welcome, everyone, to Let's Talk Broncos. I'm your host, Bri with Joey Richards and Zach Seegers. We're brought to you by Mile High Sports, and we're live from the Mile High Sports studios. For the fifth time this week, it is Friday, and we're happy you could all join us today to cap off the week.
Preseason's almost over.
It's
almost time for real football.
Beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
I'm so ready for real football, and I'm so tired of preseason football.
Everyone gets excited for it's like you go through withdrawals between February and July, and it's like, oh, I just can't wait for preseason. And then the moment it's here, it's like, get this out of my face.
Yeah, I want to talk about something interesting. Preseason, it's like cool. Like I'm having a good time. I like don't get me wrong. Talking about 4-string lineman, great time. Like, don't get me wrong, I love it.
I don't think you're having a good time.
Oh my, me? I don't know what you're talking about. I love talking about 4th-string guards. It's amazing. But
I'm telling you, I just am trying to spend a Friday night. This is last week with my girlfriend. You know, we have a date night. Go to a nice restaurant. It's like 7:30, and I get a call from Joey, and I'm like, shit, something must be wrong with the show.
Yeah.
And I answer it, and he's like, man, I got to tell you what I'm thinking about Zach Johnson, and just goes on a 15-minute tirade.
Yeah.
Just about pass sets.
Yeah. I will. You know, I won't say that one. Never mind.
Whoa. Wow. When Joey filters himself, you know it was going to be bad. Bri,
all right, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I'm going to miss watching Stevie Scott run, man. I can't.
Battleship Scott.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, that one I will miss.
If you haven't guessed what the show is going to be about tonight, I'm going to go ahead and tell you. Broncos are on the hot seat, and roster cuts have to get down from 80 to 53 on Tuesday, August 30th. So some big decisions to be made after the upcoming preseason game, which is tomorrow against the Minnesota Vikings. The last leg of the preseason. I can't wait to get regular season football in on this mix. So let's get right into it, and we'll cover the first position, or the first player that we're going to talk about. I'm going to throw it over to Joey, Jonathan Cooper.
Jonathan Cooper. Okay. I've always liked Jonathan Cooper, right? Yes. Like I've always been a fan. I wrote an article of edge rushers that you can draft later. That was the premise of it, and Jonathan Cooper was on there. Like I was a big fan of him, even coming out of the draft. I liked him. Now, it is concerning that how low he was on the depth chart, the first depth chart that came out, and then he played last preseason game, which was nice to see, but didn't make any noise. None, right? And for an edge room that just added Nick Benito and Baron Browning, and Randy Gregory, like it's concerning. Like he's definitely on the hot seat right now. It's clear as day. You can only keep a certain amount, and the Broncos have 4 that are locks, and it's a competition behind that. Malik Reed's in there too. Like it's a very depthy room right there. That he's
depthy.
That's not a word.
Deep.
Damn.
Depthy.
I like it. I'm going to integrate it.
Okay, so I will say
we're running with it.
It's already done.
I think Jonathan Cooper, you mentioned Malik Reed in that mix. I think he's another guy that's kind of on the hot seat with Jonathan Cooper, and Malik Reed's contract might ultimately be a big favor to Jonathan Cooper, because you look at, if the Broncos feel those two players are comparable, and I do think Malik Reed is presently sliding down the depth chart, going for the younger guy who you have more years of control over and is also cheaper, checks a lot of boxes from a logic standpoint.
Yeah.
But to your point, he has not looked good so far in the preseason. He really hasn't made any impact whatsoever. I think he has to step up, or he's not going to hold on to that roster
spot. And this is a guy that played a ton of snaps, meaningful football last year, regular season.
When you look at Jonathan Cooper's regular season from a snaps perspective, from a rough production perspective, looking at sacks, pressures, even more analytics like pass rush win rate, and pressure rate, stuff like that, he is right in line with Trey Hendrickson's rookie season.
Yeah.
Right in line with it. And that's another guy. Trey Hendrickson was a mid day 2 pick, I believe. Jonathan Cooper was like projected to be a late day 2, early day 3 pick before the weird heart stuff came up. So yeah, I think if I were the Broncos, I'd go with Cooper over Reed.
Really, that's how low
Man,
you are?
kicking
really
a
would.
guy when he's down. Also, the headphones tried to jump off of the
I
table.
know. I somehow snapped.
And that's because you refuse to wear them.
It's unnecessary.
They just don't even want to. I think they look stylish.
Zach has a few Broncos where it's like, it's like, I don't know. It's a select few. So Josh Johnson,
Yeah.
Malik Reed,
Yeah. DJ Jones. No, I'm kidding.
DJ Jones.
I am kidding.
I don't know. Those are the two that really come to mind.
Shout out DJ Jones.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, it's all publicity, good publicity.
Yeah,
I think my thing with Malik Reed is just, I'm not just making this stuff up because I don't like Malik Reed. It's stuff I've been hearing since OTAs. Just you look at his contract, you look at the other guys' contracts in that room. Like with a lot of things in the NFL, you can follow the money on it. And man, especially when you want some of that cap rollover to help pay for Russell Wilson, like, I don't know. I'm not convinced Malik Reed's $2 million better than Jonathan Cooper.
Yeah,
it's fair. It's fair. I was getting distracted. Sorry, that's what I do. My eye line got off, but we'll hop on over to probably the most interesting competition we have going on still. And that's between Josh Johnson and Brett Rippon.
Joey perfectly segued me into my Josh Johnson hate fest. He's totally on the hot seat going into this last game. And I think that seat probably isn't as hot as Broncos country would like it to be, or some in Broncos country would like it to be.
You're putting words in their mouth.
I've seen plenty of Broncos fans that are like, Rip starting is a good thing. He's been better than Josh Johnson so far.
I'm in that camp.
And I think those Broncos fans might be a little disappointed with the fact that I think Johnson's familiarity with the coaching staff is going to loom large in this competition.
totally.
And I think anything that isn't a decisive win, like Rippon, a win for Rippon isn't a win. It's not a tie goes to Johnson or a win for Rippon even goes to Johnson. He needs a decisive win. Like, I think the gap needs to be very wide after this third game.
Yeah.
For Rippon to take that spot. But if they play how they have these first 2 weeks and how they have throughout camp this whole time, I think there's a really good chance Rip outplays Johnson by a wide margin.
So what do you say to the people who are saying that Rip did well, but it was in the second half of the game against the 2s and 3s?
I say that would be emblematic of something if it wasn't happening everywhere. Like I hear, well, Josh Johnson had to play against the Bills once, so that's why. If that was the only time I saw Josh Johnson play quarterback like that, I'd be with you. That is not the variable that caused poor play from Josh Johnson, because against the 3s in practice this week, he's been shoddy. And just today, he threw a horrific, or not today, yesterday, threw a horrific interception in practice. Can't hit the broadside of a barn in practice. Is horribly inaccurate. Less accurate than Drew Lock ever was last year in training camp, like considerably. I don't get the love for this guy. Please go back and watch the first preseason game. Just watch his completions and go like, wow, he was really helping his receivers out there. That's just not accurate.
The fire's rolling. Zach is throwing fire.
I mean, do you guys disagree with me? Do you think he's been accurate?
I mean, I haven't been seeing him at practice every day. So
no, but I mean, like in the games.
I think he's been during training camp. There was definite concerns against
he has good flashes, like of good quarterbacking, but the downside is also really bad.
But here's the other thing: I don't want my backup to be high variance.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it should have been something the Broncos prioritized more, because I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think Brett Rippon's like the best backup either.
He's not either. And that's fair. Like, if you put this all relative, we're speaking like, I don't know, which of these lesser backup quarterbacks will the Broncos have? But I do think, like, I think Josh Johnson, we're talking about a guy in his 15th year. Like, not everyone's going to be Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers playing forever. To me, it looks like he's over the hill. I would give it to Rip. And we're talking about, like, who's on the hot seat here? Johnson's totally on the hot seat. A guy who, when he signed that contract, it was just like, okay, locked in backup quarterback. Right. And right now, I think he is definitely has a good chance of losing his roster spot.
Yeah. To your earlier point, Zach, it's the coaching staff has no connection to Brett Rippon. Like none. It was not their guy.
Problem.
It was not their guy. Josh Johnson was brought in by this staff.
God, you guys
because
are
they've worked
giving
with him in the
me-
past.
Like I'm getting PTSD. I'm hearing a lot of things, and it's making me uncomfortable.
Shouts out Teddy Bridgewater. I like
Shouts out. Can you tell me what?
It really disappoints me that there's this coaching staff conspiracy going on against.
I
Brett
didn't mean
Rippon.
to do this or ignite this.
I think Brett
It's my
Rippon
bad.
has so much untapped potential.
I'm sorry.
So much. And if you just gave him a fair all I'm asking is for a 7th round quarterback to be given one fair chance.
Brett Rippon is a dance move away.
If I could reach the board right now, I would kill both of your mics.
Yeah, I just think like you look at like his swagger and like the tools.
No, he has it.
He is it.
He's a dog.
He's a dog. You put the X-ray up on his chest. What are you gonna see? Dog.
I am so tired.
Let me tell you, know how good Brett Rippon is? He's checking all the boxes.
Yeah.
Call him a gynecologist.
I am so tired. Let's jump on over to Faion Hicks. Cornerback depth is something that we've talked about this week quite a bit. And I think there are some questions as to what the Denver Broncos are going to do there with that position. What do you see from the defensive backs? Do they take 11? That would be 6 cornerbacks, 5 safeties. The safeties look pretty darn solid. And there's even one that you're going to have to like really decide who gets cut there. But for cornerbacks, you're looking at the Michael Ojemudia injury really elevating some players currently who might be on the in the bubble, like Hicks and Bless Austin, who may not have had a chance of making the roster, now having their seat a little bit warm because they could potentially swing either way. So, Joey, do you want to talk to me a little bit about that? I know you had concerns with the depth there in the position. Hicks, what does he have to do to show out this Saturday in order to possibly make the team?
At this point, I think it's going to be pretty tough. That's just maybe he has a better shot just because I don't think any of the depth of or as I should say, it's not a very depthy cornerback room.
I think
it's like maybe his odds are improved more, but I don't think there's a lot of NFL rosters if he performed that way in the preseason the way he has, like giving up multiple touchdowns now, long reception on a free play, different things going on that just and not much good. Like there hasn't been like a flash play that he's had where it's like, ooh, that was really good by Faion Hicks. That he would make. Like it's rough. And I said this multiple times now. I'm going to say it again
on our grading episodes.
Yeah, if you're drafted that late, you really have to show out. Your odds of making the roster when you're drafted that late, like they really don't. It doesn't mean anything to cut you. Like it's not that big of an investment.
Yep.
It doesn't mean much. So he hasn't had those flashes where it's like, oh, this is the exact guy I kind of want to develop.
Yeah, I think the argument for a guy like Faion Hicks or Bless Austin making the final roster starts with Ojemudia, ironically, I think. Because right now, when you look at the 6 cornerbacks, 5 of them I think are pretty locked in. Like maybe you could say Bassey's not locked in, but I think just everything we've seen demonstrates that he's a near lock for a roster spot. Mathis is too. The 3 starters are being Darby, Surtain, and Williams. That 6th spot, I think is still maybe not open. Ojemudia is still, I think, the heavy favorite for it, but super disappointing in camp. Super disappointing in the preseason games. Now injured. Like this coaching staff also and the front office has absolutely no ties or investment in Michael Ojemudia paying off. I would not be fully stunned if they cut him. And maybe it's not for Faion Hicks or Bless Austin. Maybe it's for a waiver wire guy. But the hopes of any other cornerback making the Broncos roster, I think, starts with Michael Ojemudia and how this team feels about him. Because if they're keeping Michael Ojemudia, I don't think there's room for anyone else.
Yeah, I will say, though, that they don't have any ties to him, but the fact that they let cornerbacks walk out the door and just said, "Oh, this is our fourth," showed a sign of confidence.
Yeah.
Like that's what I will say. Like I'm pretty.
But hasn't your evaluation of Ojemudia changed, or at least how you feel about Ojemudia changed between, you know, January, February when they were making
exactly is better? Like I'm looking for the guy that's like
Joe Hayden.
It skyrocketed and then it fell.
Maybe,
and I don't know
I
if
don't
that's.
know. I don't know.
You don't think Joe Hayden could be better than Michael Ojemudia?
I think he could. I think he could.
Like, yeah, I think he's past his prime, but I think, like, I'm just, and to your point, they may not go one of those ways. We were just talking about it, you know, the other day, and you were saying that you don't think they'll go about fixing the team that way.
It's not even that I don't think that
I would not
they
be
will
surprised
go
if they move
about
on
trying to fix the need that way. It's more so that I don't think that they can. I think no matter what, it's going to be an issue.
Yeah, I agree it'll be an issue. I would not say Ojemudia is a lock for this roster, would you?
I
think his possible. I think it's stronger than not.
Stronger than a lock.
No, stronger than not.
Not stronger than not. I'm sorry, I thought you said stronger than that.
No,
I was like, damn,
he's bought in.
That would be such
he has an Ojemudia jersey at home that he's just ripping to wear.
I don't know. I just think.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to, like, these staffs are evaluating how guys perform in the preseason. And I think you have to evaluate Ojemudia's performance for what it was, which was dreadful.
Yeah, but like, it's like, I don't know.
Ojemudia went out of the game in both of the last two games. The coverage improved.
Yeah, but he was still the first corner off the bench for the Broncos.
He was, but when and that was the current standing. But when he went off the field in both those games because of injury, the coverage immediately improved. I don't think that's something that the coaching staff is blind to.
I don't know if Faion Hicks has been that much better. I don't know if these other guys.
I don't know if Faion Hicks is. I'm just saying.
They both had blatant misses on Saturday.
Faion Hicks right now, his seat is red hot because it's not looking like he's going to make the roster. The way for him onto the roster is Ojemudia loses out. And I think Ojemudia could definitely lose out.
Does that put Damari Mathis in a stronghold for that position? Like, I mean,
I think Ojemudia's injury does do that because now he's missing all these reps in practice. Damari Mathis on Wednesday had a stellar day of practice. You need to see it come through in the games, but I don't know. You're not seeing it from Ojemudia either. I'd be hard pressed to turn to Ojemudia before I turn to Damari Mathis at this point if I'm Coach E.
Yeah.
It was that level of disconcerting. Very interesting to me, guys. Please let us know once you watch this episode. Comment on Twitter. Leave us comments on Facebook and YouTube. I was trying to remember where else we stream to. All of those guys. And let us know what you think about those players on the bubble. And I guess we'll report back when the final decisions have been made. It'll be interesting, but I think there's pretty good feelers out there. I think the Ojemudia take is that it was concerning, right? And so I think I want to leave the show with, I hope I like the guy as a player, and what we saw in the last 2 weeks was concerning, right? So
he has a lot of natural ability. That's the one thing I will say. Out of everyone off the bench, Ojemudia clearly, without a doubt, has the most natural ability.
And we've seen, I do not know. One of the biggest mysteries to me around the Broncos is what happened with Ojemudia.
I mean, okay,
like,
I don't want to say
he was stellar beforehand.
I don't want to say it because
he does not look like he was against the Chiefs.
I'm always the Fangio defender, but I mean, I just, you hear some things about the Michael Ojemudia Fangio, and Fangio got blamed a lot for the Ojemudia stuff.
About hiding Ojemudia, maybe I'll say what we saw in flashes during his rookie year. Not to say it was super consistent, but I think we all saw the peaks we saw during his rookie year. Like, set the rookie record for forced fumbles and, like, you know, had some nice moments in coverage, like had the dropped INTs, but was putting himself in good position right off the bat. Obviously the valleys were still there. And then in year 2, saw the peaks in training camp, saw them in that in that Chiefs game rather. And it's not like, oh, he's been really inconsistent and the bad Ojemudia is coming out more. I have not seen the peaks. Like, I feel like this is the worst version of Ojemudia I've ever seen in a Broncos uniform, and I have no explanation for why. This
You
is
may not get
one of the
get to
biggest
see it
mysteries.
play
I have
out.
no
All
idea.
I'm gonna say is one of these days I'm gonna just like have my own. I'm just gonna release a podcast where it's gonna be everything Fangio related.
Joey saying
The-
he's leaving
the
this
Fangio
podcast
files
I'm
with
gonna have-
Joey Richards.
Yeah,
so that
exactly.
he can go ahead and speak highly of Fangio on another platform. I wish you well, Joey. I forgot to shout out at the start of the show, and I need to do this so I don't get axed from family dinners or anything. A couple of frequent watchers of the Let's Talk Broncos podcast, and I just want everyone to know, appreciate you. But also, if you are watching and maybe you're not too active on Twitter, but you do want to get a shout out on the show, all you have to do is message us. Please don't DM me. You can DM Zach or Joey, and send us a, hey guys, shout me on the show. Shout out my brother. My brother watches your show. So I got that today from two of my cousins, Luke and Jacob Maestis. They have friends who watch, and I want to shout them out right now. Ben McLaughlin, Zane Covey, and Ty Howe. Really appreciate you guys for watching. Glad you're a fan. Interact with the show. Make sure you jump in the chat next time. We'd love to talk to you. Go follow us on Twitter. Possibly. I mean, that's probably a good decision for everyone. Go follow us on Twitter. And speaking of that, you can find me over on Twitter at BriMaestis303, JR Drafts, Zach_Seegers. Tell the people where they can find the rest of your work.
Mile High Sports.
Mile High Sports at Zach_Seegers on Twitter. One thing, just because we haven't said it, I think this week yet, please like, subscribe, share the show, tell a friend, rate 5 stars. Just, I don't know. We are starting some things out here, and any of that support means so much to us. Like even like a Facebook like, it gets us in front of some new eyes, gives us some chance to I don't know, bring in some new listeners, build our community further. And it only takes like 5 seconds on your end. So if you do enjoy the show, that effort means a lot. So thank you very much.
Support sounds like we're asking for donations for hungry puppies and kittens. So I really appreciate your plea.
And
to
we're
the people.
not. It's very easy. You just gotta like.
You literally have to do.
And Joey and I are cuter than starving puppies and kittens.
There was an
No,
actual absence of the mention of my name, and I'm going to take that one personal for the rest of the weekend. I can't wait to let that bother me for 48 hours. We'll be back with you on Monday. Can't wait to talk with all of you. It's been a fantastic week too, talking Broncos. Let's go Broncos and let's ride.
That's right.